What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. We got the Chicago Bears. The Bears hosting the Green Bay Packers. One of the biggest rivalries in the NFL, alongside the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. It used to be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Redskins, but they changed their name to the Washington Commanders. But even before they changed their name, the Eagles just took over as the biggest rival of the Dallas Cowboys. We got the tiebreaker going down, wild card round. You got the Bears, who have a record of 11-6, going against the Packers, who have a record of 9-7-1. The first meeting the Packers won, I believe it was 28-21. The Bears had a chance to go down there and tie the game. They was in the red zone. I think it was inside the 5-yard line, at least inside the 10, with a chance to tie that game. They went for two. They probably could have won that game. And Caleb Williams threw an interception in the end zone. They met a few weeks later, and the Green Bay Packers were controlling the game for the most part. You know, had the lead, was up, I think at least two scores, might have been up at least one score plus the 2-point conversion. They was up at least 8 points late in that game, and they couldn't secure an onside kick, and the Bears went down there and tied it. Went to overtime. The Bears ended up there winning when Caleb Williams found DJ Moore in the back of the end zone in a great come from behind victory. You call them the cardiac Chicago Bears in that regard. They've had a lot of games like that this season. They've snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. So you got to give them credit, man. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The Chicago Bears are the worst 11-6 team in recent memory. I know that I'm not saying they're a bad team, but you know, when you really look at their record, man, they've won a lot of games where they were down, they came back. Give them credit. Give Caleb Williams a lot of credit for being a clutch player in the fourth quarter, but they won a lot of games where I thought they were probably going to lose. Even the game against the Raiders, who are not a great team this year, one of the worst teams in football, they won that game coming from behind. They also came back and beat the Giants, which is not a good team at home. They won that game. They've won several games like that coming from behind and winning. And they're playing a team that's very, very familiar with them. So when you're playing a team that is in your division, there's not a lot of secrets out there. So it's going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to who can score touchdowns when they get in the red zone and not have to settle for field goals. I think that the Bears, in a way, are fugazi. I think they actually, in my opinion, when I watched them play, and I watched a lot of their games during the season, they to me, they seem like more of a 9-8 team. Even though they 11-6, like I say, the record is what your record says it is. The great Bill Parcells said that you are what your record says it is. It's always gonna have games where a play here, a play there, you know, a turnover here, a big penalty there can decide the outcome of the game. But when you play 16, or in this case 17 games, your record is what your record is. So they're 11-6, but I'm just saying though, when I watch them play, they seem more 9-8. So these teams here are very, very comparable. But I'm going to give the Packers the advantage in this game because they have the playoff experience. I think both teams are very deep at the wide receiver position. As the Bears have DJ Moore, they have Luther Burden III. You know, the Green Bay Packers have Reed, they very Watkins, Dubs. So they very deep at the wide receiver position too. So it's going to be a good game, man. I think it's going to come down to which quarterback plays better. I trust Love more than I trust Caleb Williams. Now, he might show up and show out. This is his first playoff game, so he might show up and show out. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the team that's got the experience, man. They've been in this situation 3 years in a row as the 7th seed. They went to Dallas a couple of years ago and dominated and beat down the Cowboys in the Cowboys Stadium. Last year, they did not play well. The defense played well, but the offense did not play well. Love struggled. So I do think Love is going to come back with a very, very strong game when you look at the fact that he played poorly in his last playoff game versus the Eagles. So I'm looking for him to have a strong bounce-back playoff game. Caleb Williams, who makes his plays outside the pocket. Is not a guy that's going to kill you from within the pocket. So I think the defensive coordinator of the Packers, who I think is one of the better defensive coordinators in the NFL, will cause Caleb Williams problems, just like he caused him problems in the game in Chicago, about a month ago. I think he's going to cause them problems, and I think they're going to get after the Bears. I think they're going to slow down the run game. They're going to put the game in Caleb Williams' hands. I think the Packers have solid cornerbacks in Valentine and Nixon, and I think they'll be able to hold up versus the Chicago Bears offense. Now, they don't have a pass rush with Micah Parsons being lost for the season, and they also lost one of their best defensive tackles in the Micah Parsons trade, Clark. So they can be run on, and the Bears have one of the best running back duos in football in DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monaghan. So they're going to test them, and the weather's going to be pretty bad in this game. It's going to be windy in this game, just like I told you guys in the breakdown of the Carolina Rams game, that the weather's going to play a part in this game too. It's going to be kind of windy. It's going to be precipitation, light rain, so you might even have some sleet and snow. So I think it's going to come down to what team is able to impose their will on the other team, what offensive line is able to dominate, and the Bears do have a good offensive line. Green Bay offensive line is solid too. Bears have a strong running game. The Packers, Josh Jacobs has been dealing with injuries for the latter part of the season. He'll be looking to bounce back. Now, they kind of limited his carries here down the stretch so he could be healthy for the playoffs, and I'm looking for him to have a big game. I just think that the Packers, just experience, and I just think that the Bears are not as good as their record says they are. To me, they have a lot of flaws at the quarterback position. They have a lot of flaws on defense. Their defense is opportunistic, but it's not that good. You can move the ball on that defense, and I do think that LaFleur, who I think is one of the best offensive minds in football, will come up with a very good game plan, and I think he will be able to put up enough points to defeat inexperienced and limited Chicago Bears, who have had a successful season. No matter the outcome of this game here tonight, they've had a very successful season. I thought that they could finish at best 9-8 this year. To me, they seem like an 8-9, 9-18. That's what I thought going into the year, and they've bypassed even my expectation, finishing 11-6. But again, when you watch them throughout the season, they've won a lot of games being down late, and you got to give them credit for being scrappy and being the cardiac Chicago Bears. But that doesn't mean that they're one of the better teams in football. To me, if I had to rank the playoff team, they'd be close to the bottom with the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But I'd like the Green Bay Packers to beat the Chicago Bears 20-17 to advance to the divisional round, where they'll go to Seattle and play the Seahawks in the divisional round of the playoffs. Let me know your thoughts if you agree with that. You think the Bears gonna win this game? A lot of people picking the Bears. I think the Bears, I don't know, I think it's like a 1-point spread. I can't remember who's favored. I don't know if it's the Bears or if it's the Packers, but these two teams are evenly matched. They're 1-1. They could easily beat 2 old Packers. They kind of gave that game away last time in Chicago. A lot of people say they banged up, but I don't see them being that banged up, man. I looked at the depth chart. They ain't got nobody out, major out. A lot of people saying, oh, they're hurt, they're banged up, but maybe they're looking at the fact that Love is coming back from an injury, but he seems to be healthy. He's not on the injury report. He's not questionable or limited in practice. He practiced all week, so I think he's ready to go. Everybody's banged up. Ain't nobody 100% in this time of the year, so it ain't one team. It ain't like the Bears are healthy and the Packers are hurt. I don't think that's the case. I think both teams have played a long, tough season, and I think both teams are banged up. Now, I will tell everybody to look out for the backup quarterback to Green Bay, because he's questionable. He played well in that game up in Chicago when Love got hurt. Now, he could possibly not be able to play, and they might have to go with the third string. That's what you need to look out for, the backup quarterback behind Love. He's questionable. But Love is good to go, and I think the Packers, for the most part, are going to be ready to rock and roll tonight up in Chi-Town. I don't think injury is going to play a part, but I do think the Packers, being a more experienced team, this is their third time being the 7th seed. This is their third time being on the road, so they're not going to be intimidated by the atmosphere. They just left Chicago playing there about a month ago, so they know what to expect. I just think their experience is going to carry the day. I just think that the Bears are kind of playing with house money, so to speak. I think they're a good team. I think they add a couple more pieces. They could be a real true Super Bowl contender next year. I think this year I don't see it happening. I actually think they're a year ahead of schedule. Kind of remind me of the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL. Kind of a year ahead of schedule. I look for them to be a real true contender next year and a couple of more pieces, in particular on defense. Let me know your thoughts. Who you like in this matchup, Bears versus Packers? I like Packers 20-17. Move on to the divisional round. If you like the Bears, let me know your thoughts in the comment section and the reason why you like the Bears. Let me know that as well. And follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on TikTok at JB Sports. New media. Follow me on Twitch at Briscoe MA77071. Follow me on Instagram, JB Sports 9707. Follow me on my 2 YouTube channels. That's plural, not singular, at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 9656, and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, 8,000. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.